Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mubarak Law's Thursday Facebook Live. This is Attorney Roshni Ravani, Associate Attorney at Mubarak Law. I will be doing and conducting today's Facebook Live. I'm bringing some USCIS updates as well as some news from our law office. We also have Ms. Kelly Dominguez from our Personal Injury Department who will be joining us today in the Facebook Live, and she will also be providing us some personal injury updates. So let's just wait till a few people join us, and then we'll begin our Facebook Live. Okay, so let's begin today's Facebook Live. So I'm going to start with the USCIS updates first. The first update is that USCIS extended the flexibility for responding to the agency's request. What that means is that if you received any request for evidence or notice of intent to deny, notice of intent to revoke, you have an additional 60 days on top of the deadline that's provided by USCIS to respond to those queries. The request, this flexibility applies to the requests that were issued from March 2021 of this year until January 15, 2022. So if you have a request for evidence, you get additional 60 days to respond to that request. The second USCIS update is that there is a recent form change of the form AR11, that is the form for a change of address. So if you moved, if you have a petition pending, or if you have a green card, if you move to a new address, please make sure that you change your address with USCIS. And from December 7th, please make sure that you use the corrected version to change your address. Now some good news. So we had a couple of approvals this week and this month. So the first one was an approval of an I-130 petition. That is a petition for immediate relative, a wife filed for her husband who is abroad. Usually this process takes about a year for approval, but our office got the approval within 4 to 5 months of filing. So we filed this petition back in May of this year. We also received a request for evidence. So there was a request for evidence that we responded within 2 weeks. And literally 3 weeks after that submission, we have the approval. So we are very happy for our clients. Congratulations to them. And we are now assisting them with the NVC consular processing. The second good news is that we had 2 H1b approvals this week. It was for a company who hired 2 employees under the H1b. We filed their registration back in March. They were selected, and then we filed their H1b petitions. One of the employee was under the master's cap, and the other one was on the bachelor's cap. We had few L1 approvals as well. So we thought, why not talk about H1B and L1 visas, and what are their requirements and how do they differ? So I'm going to briefly talk about what is an H1B visa and what is an L1 visa today. So let's start with the H1B visa. H1b visa is a non-immigrant classification that applies to people who wish to perform into specialty occupation. So it is a temporary non-immigrant visa that allows foreign nationals to work in the United States. Now, it is a very competitive visa because you have to go through the lottery system because of the cap. There are certain subcategories under the H1B, but we are going to talk about the specialty occupation today. So what do you require to qualify under the H1B category for specialty occupation? So the first is that you have to meet one of the requirements. You have to either have a U.S. bachelor's degree or higher from an accredited college or university from the U.S. It's similar to that specialty occupation. So for example, if your specialty occupation is civil engineering, then you need to have either a bachelor's or a master's or a higher degree in civil engineering. What if you don't have a U.S. bachelor's or master's? Then you can show that you have a foreign degree that is equivalent to the U.S. bachelor's or higher from an accredited college or university. You can also show that you have unrestricted state license, certification, or some sort of experience or education that allows you or authorizes you to work under that specialty occupation. So that goes under the experience and education that you need to show to apply under the H1B. What about the occupation itself? And so USCIS tells us that the occupation itself requires you to prove that it needs, or the occupation requires you that you have practical or a theoretical application of a body of highly specialized knowledge, as well as you have to show that having a bachelor's or a higher or equivalent degree is a minimum entry requirement for that specialty occupation. You also have to show that the bachelor's degree, everything is kind of under the degree and the specialty occupation. So you have to show that the degree is very common to the industry or in the similar organization, that bachelor's or equivalent degree is a minimum entry into this position, that the employer who's hiring you also requires minimum of a bachelor's or equivalent degree, or you have to show that the type of duties, the job, the nature of the specialty occupation is so high and so complex that only a person with having a degree or equivalent can prove or can do the job. So if you meet that requirement, then you may be eligible for the H1B visa. Now, what are the procedural requirements? How does the process work? So as I mentioned to you earlier, that this is a lottery system. It requires you to register. Usually it begins in the month of March. So you have to register online in the beginning of March. And then if you get selected, USCIS informs you by March 31st. Then you can start applying from April 1st. Now, it's a lottery system. So what is that? What is the lottery system? It's called lottery system because there is a cap. There is a cap that USCIS only selects around 65,000 people every year to apply under the H1 to give out H1B visas. So that means that if 80,000 people are applying to register them, only 65 get selected. But if you have a master's degree, then there are more chances of you getting selected because there's an additional 20,000 positions or petitions that are allowed by USCIS. They're exempt from the cap. So if you have master's, then you get 85 positions to get selected from USCIS. So once you get selected, your employer then has to file the Department of Labor certification with the Department of Labor. So labor certification with the Department of Labor. Now, what is the purpose of that? It's just that the employer is attesting that the prevailing wage that the employer will provide you, it will be similar to that's provided in this occupation or geographical area. Then the working conditions will not severely affect other workers who are also working in that occupation. Once the labor certification is certified, then the employer files the I-129 for you. Okay. Once that get approved, the H-1B visa is issued. However, if the applicant is out of the United States, then after the approval of I-129, you can then apply to the embassy for the visa. H-1B is a non-immigrant visa, so that means that it is only the first initial grant is for 3 years. You can then extend it for another 3 years. However, there is a cap of that you can only extend it for, so you can only be on a H-1B visa for 6 years unless there is an exemption applies. I see a couple of comments there. Let's just go to the comments. So Gabriella Chassin says, yay. Bindi, hi Bindi, how are you? Thank you for watching. Okay, so yeah, it's you can only apply for 6 years unless there's an exemption applies. Your spouse, as well as your unmarried child at under the age of 21 can also apply H4 based on your H1B classifications, and they can also get work permit under that. Now, very briefly, I'm going to talk about the L visas. So the L visas are the intra-company transferees. Is for intra-company transferees. They are available for those who work in managerial capacity or have a specialized knowledge. There are two types: is L1A and L1B. So L visas is mainly an employer can file for the employee who they want to come and work in the US. Now for L1A, you have to show that is for the intra-company transferees who work under managerial or executive capacity in a company that is located outside of the United States. And L1B is for intra-company transferees who have specialized knowledge and who are working in the company that's outside of the United States. So in layman terms, let's just say that you have a company in Brazil. You want to, there's a company, you also have a company in the United States. The couple of employees who are managers or have specialized knowledge, you want them to come and work in the United States company under the same position. Then you can apply for an L1 visa for them. Now we always get a question that I don't have a company in the United States, but I want to establish a new company. Can I still apply for an L1 visa for my employee? And the answer is yes. However, you have to show a couple of things. The first thing is that you have to show that there's a physical location for the new company in the United States. The second is that the employee has been employed with your organization for 1 year within the 3 years of filing the petition. So the employee has to be working in that position with your company for at least 1 continuous year. The second one is that when the new company is established in the United States, it will have a managerial or an executive position within 1 year of the approval of that petition. So definitely you can open a new company and you can send an employee prior to, you meet that requirement. So to qualify for the L visa, you have to show that the employee has been working with the qualifying organization abroad for a continuous of 1 year within 3 years of filing of the petition. And the second is that the employee is going to enter the United States to provide services in the managerial capacity or the specialized knowledge capacity. So they have to stay here and only work under that capacity. So again, the L1B visa, you have the same requirements, but you have to show instead of the managerial or executive capacity, the employee has specialized knowledge. And USCIS has also defined what is a managerial capacity, what is an executive capacity, and what is specialized. So when you file your petition along with the supporting documents, you have to also maintain and meet the requirement along with the job duties. So that was the information on H1B and L visas. Our website also has more information on that, so you can always check that out. And if you have more questions and if you think that you're eligible for any type of visas, please do give us a call, or you can always get a consultation with us. Now I will invite Ms. Kelly from our personal injury department, and she has some personal injury updates for her.
Thank you, Attorney.
How are you? Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay, so what do you have for us?
Okay, so I know Nayak and I always touch on, the importance of UIM, which is uninsured, underinsured motorist. And I know many clients are very confused about this because it just kind of, if you don't have it in your policy, you don't know. So the importance of it right now is we actually just settled the case for uninsured motorist, full policy limits, which was a great thing for our client. But really the biggest issue here is if our client did not have this under his policy, he would have walked away with injuries, damages, both to his body, both to his car, and no compensation. So it's truly important that you really contact your insurance and add this feature to your insurance. It will raise your premium, but I can promise you, we have had so many cases that we can't represent a client in because they don't have this insurance. So let me explain a little bit of what uninsured, underinsured motorist. It's a little bit confusing. So uninsured motorist is when you get into an accident with an at-fault driver. That at-fault driver under the state of Florida is not required to have bodily injury. So what that means is if you get into this accident, this person has no insurance, that means you're going to walk away with these injuries. This is where uninsured motorist coverage comes in. What your policy will do is they will take the place of, they will pay out on damages for your policy, from your policy. And this is a feature that you paid for as part of your policy, right? Now, the difference with underinsured motorist is, which is we have a claim right now that's going on, is underinsured motorist is when the other party does have insurance. However, their policy is not enough to cover the damages of your case. That's when your insurance will come in and pay out those damages. I know many of you are going to be a little bit frustrated, and we hear from our clients, well, it's not fair that my insurance is paying for this because they caused the accident. We completely understand that. But this is really just to make sure that you have insurance available to you if for some reason there's not enough policy or there's no policy at all, because you don't want to walk away with injuries. The medical bills can get very expensive. You want to have some pain and suffering, money's coming into you. So that's really the importance of this. And this is why we always encourage our clients, please make sure you have uninsured, underinsured motorists. Sometimes your injuries can be so severe to the point where even if they are insured, but you don't have this underinsured motorist, you walk away with very little money or pretty much nothing from how much the doctors billed on your case. So that's really the update that we have here. Again, we are very happy for the few clients that we have, for the clients that we did get full policies on their cases. It's very important that, like we said, to make sure that you are getting this type of coverage under your policies.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the information. So Kelly, I had a question. So under UM, if you when the client applies under the UM, they can, once that policy is tendered, they can pay for their medical bills, etc., from the UM policy, correct?
Yes. So everything will usually first be covered through PIP, right? We have in Florida, it's $10,000 minimal policy for PIP. So PIP will take care of $10,000. But a lot of times with MRIs and, just treatment, that kind of goes, through the window, goes very quickly. So then your policy will come in and it will help pay whatever is remaining. Of course, we do our best to make sure we negotiate those bills down and get as much as we can in the pockets of our clients. And we've done a really good job with that here at the firm. We negotiate until we really focus on your recovery. So yes, that's really what happens. So we have PIP that does pay majority of your bills, but however, it's not always enough at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Kelly, for that information. And if you have any questions regarding immigration or personal injury, please, our number is there. So please do contact us and also follow us on social media. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.